Hey y'all, I'm Jalen,
And I'm Jada.
and we out here. Episode 1, and we're talking about our identity and what it means to us as creators. I guess we should just start off with who we are and how we identify ourselves. You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Um, so my name is Jalen, as I've said before. But the first thing that I think identifies me is what you see when you look at me. So I'm a black female, um, in my early to mid 20s, which I feel like if you don't know me, you see what I look like and you might already have, opinions on who I am or how I behave. And so I feel like that's what I lead with in life. And that I don't look the way people um wait. I feel like I look a certain way and people don't expect me to be as nice as I am or as like
Yeah,
open or
I definitely feel
down
that a
to
lot.
earth. I guess I have, that resting bitch face.
You got a face, and people don't like it. Like literally.
They just don't be rocking. They like, I don't know.
Wait, let me tell you this story though. So we have a bunch of new people at work, right?
Yeah.
And my friend, Sydney, who I work with, she's a lot more like approachable, I guess, and everybody likes to open up to her and tell like all their stories to her and stuff.
Hmm.
And then I'm always on the side, like mad, like quiet and stuff, because I'm shy.
Yeah.
And everybody's like surprised we're friends. So there's this one new guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't think Jada likes me. Like, she be staring daggers at me." And I'm like, "Wow, I really just be over there like contemplating my life, just trying to figure out how to get out of here." I don't even see him half the time. Like, I don't even feel like I'm actually there. Like, that's literally just my face. Well, half a face because I got a mask on. Like,
Right. Just all he
those
sees
are
is
just
your
my
eyes.
eyes. Right. I'm literally chilling. Like, I'm just trying to get out of here. I'm mad chill. It's just really funny that that's how he feels.
Yeah.
Like staring daggers.
Like not even really tried to talk to you and like be your friend. He just assumed, oh, she don't rock with me.
Right. I'm
Meanwhile,
just trying to live my life.
right, you just trying to get out of there.
Over here having a whole crisis on the inside. Like
I'm just trying to get
yeah,
out of there. It
right.
has nothing to do with you, sir. I promise.
Oh, but
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's how people identify me. I identify myself as a dancer. Like, I do a lot of things in life, but I feel like that's the thing that identifies me the most. Like,
Mhm.
if I could dance everywhere and people not look at me like I was crazy, that's what I do. Like, I mean, I teach Pilates, I teach dance, I do administrative work, but I don't feel like those things define me. Being
Mhm.
black and being a dancer, I feel like are my defining factors. Um, I mean, I went to middle school, I went to high
Yeah, what's
school,
the middle school?
I went to college. That's my
You
background,
did
y'all.
like the normal stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah,
everybody,
I'm just trying to
did.
level up out here, um, and tell my story of being black because I feel like I'm very silent. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, because I haven't had any crazy experiences. I've had a very normal, lackluster life. But I
Yeah.
feel like I still have a story that I should be telling.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I don't do well talking about myself.
No, it's cool, it's cool. I mean, I'm pretty much the same. There's nothing too different. I mean, there's a lot different, but nothing too different at the same. You know,
Mhm.
I grew up, went to school, did what I was supposed to do, went to college because, that's what I was supposed to do. Um, and for the longest time, I would say the only way I would identify myself is as a dancer. Um, because that's the only thing I connected with in life, in
Mhm.
like the real world reality of life outside of my head. Um, and because that's the only thing I felt connected to, I kind of just like immersed myself in that. And since I've been out of school, I feel like that's been my main struggle because I haven't had the opportunity to really dance the way I want to.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of like, I'm out here just like, what am I?
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing what I identify myself as.
Yeah.
Or what I used to identify myself as, because now I would just identify myself as an artist all around
Mhm.
because I have more interest in other things besides just moving.
Mhm.
Like, I do want to dance, but it's not so much about just the performance part. I
Yeah.
really enjoy creating and behind the scenes and the process of like choreographing and um, just storytelling all around. Because I
Mhm.
do like storytelling in writing and in, I guess maybe acting, but I haven't done too much of that. And just storytelling all around. And dance is just like, I don't like to say it would be the number one, but when it comes to dancing, I feel like that's where I'm most comfortable
Mhm. Yeah.
and most uncomfortable. Like, it's really irritating
I think
because it's like,
what's
I,
similar
yeah.
between us both and why we feel so connected to dance is our ability to express ourselves. Um,
Mhm,
like you said, you're quiet and you're shy, and so most people don't know what to expect. But even though I am vocal and I do speak to people, I don't speak to people about the things that I actually want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I just
mhm.
try to seem like I'm friendly because that's what I'm supposed to do. And so I feel like we're both connected to dance and the fact that we can express ourselves without having to be verbally, expressive, which is super hard for us.
'Cause
Um,
it just doesn't make
it
sense to
just
me.
it just don't be working out.
Like,
Like
I don't have anything to say, so I don't understand what you want me to say. Like,
be asking
what
me
do you want
questions
from
and
me?
be like,
Like, I don't know.
like I don't know.
Especially in this moment, like, I feel like people want answers so fast,
Mhm.
and that's what's so frustrating for me because it takes me a minute to process, like,
Right.
what's
Right.
happening or what's going on, especially because this might not make sense to people, but I don't really live in this reality of
Mhm.
life. Like, I've kind of set myself up in a different world in my head and
Mhm.
just been, like, living within that, and I didn't really have to come out of that until I went away to school, but
Mhm.
that was still also sheltered in a way. So now that I'm no longer in school, I'm really out here struggling because 'cause I'm, like, really set in the middle of it, which is also interesting when you're talking about, like you identify as, like, African American, stuff like that, which I also am African American, but I never really thought about that, like, that is who makes up what I am.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't like that as an identifier, not being African American, but just, like, even when people ask, like, "Oh, I got a new friend. Oh, is she white?" Like, that's like, I don't it doesn't really matter. She's
Yeah.
just like a person.
Yeah.
So, until this year and the events of this past year, it's like I never really identified as that. Whereas now it feels more like not that I have to, but I'm more interested in that part of me
Mhm.
because it is part of me that I've kind of like, you know, not ignored, but it's just like that's the way it is, that's who I am, but I don't really dig deep or think about it that much.
Because it's just your skin. Like
Exactly.
that's your outer detail. It's not that deep. That I understand what you're saying.
But yeah, I guess that's my identity. The main thing, if you want to know about me, that you need to know is that I'm a creator. I love to create and I love artists and I just love to be a part of that world in any way
True.
that I can,
Yeah.
whether it's dancing or writing or acting or reading, just all parts of it. And I really like um, my goal. I guess we can talk about our goals a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but my goal in life is just to create a platform where I can get all my things out, like
Mhm.
all my creativeness out, all my ideas out, because they've kind of lived in me for a long time and
Mhm.
also have haunted me for many years. But I also, once I get that out, I want to have a platform for other people to be able to bring their things to the table without all the extra strings and stuff attached. That kind of takes away from the art.
Yeah. Um, my goal. I am like all over the place with my interests. Um, but no matter where I go, I know that dance has to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I am very interested in choreography and what it means to be a choreographer, and where that movement stems from. Dance movement therapy is super interesting to me. Just the idea that we have these feelings, these emotions, these experiences that come out through movement, whether it's conscious or coming from our subconscious, like our day to day movements show
Mm-hmm.
our identity. And it's something that is constantly being taken in by others because that's how they see us first is our movement, how we walk into a room, how we raise our hands. Some people use their hands when they're talking. Like those are our identifiers even if we don't know it. So I'm interested in like talking to different choreographers first about their movement and just taking on that movement in my body and seeing how it makes me feel and
Mm-hmm.
then transforming that feeling and fitting it into their life story. So like you were saying, the idea of telling a story is like interesting when it comes to art. Um, but I want to see how that story comes out through their movement without them being like, hey, this is my story. This is what my
Yeah.
art is about. You know what I'm saying? And I just
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to travel the world and kind of put together this research and be like, hey, world, y'all need to dance more because if you dance, it'll make you feel better because of this, and this. Um,
Yeah.
but I really want to be on like a Bill T. Jones vibe when he did Still Here. And
Mm-hmm.
he interviewed all of those people who had terminal illnesses or who were related to somebody who passed away from a terminal illness. And then from their words, he created movement. But from their movement, I want to create words. So I kind of just want to reverse the whole process, get some dancing in, throw in some psychology. I just want to open the world's eyes to dance
Yeah.
being more than just movement. Like it's not just entertainment. Like it can
Yes.
really touch somebody's soul and it comes from somebody's soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, just
Wow,
yeah,
it's
we
really cool though. Like
yeah.
we know this. We know what we both want to do, but we don't know
Yeah,
at the same time,
we just
which is
can't
very
we
frustrating.
it's the steps for us. Like we know
Well,
where we
because
want to go.
there's not really space for it, I feel like. Like
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
You have so many things fighting against it,
Mhm.
and you have to be a certain kind of person to fight back.
Correct.
And it's very difficult.
It is. And
It is very difficult. And
our
the time
energies
doesn't
are
get
very
any
much
better.
laid back too.
Yeah,
So like
which is
we fight when we need to fight, but it I don't know, that's not an automatic energy that we be on. So I
mhm.
do understand that we're having problems navigating cuz we be like, "Dang, life kicked me again. All right, let me have
Like,
a seat for a couple
I'm
seconds. Let
just
me
gonna
take a
lay
deep
here on
breath.
the ground.
We were like, all right, let me take a deep breath for a second,
I'm
because
just lay here for a minute, and then you're just like being beat up on the inside. It's
yeah,
really a lot of layers and a lot of steps,
correct. Yeah,
and we gonna get there. We gonna get here.
we are, and this is definitely a part of it. Like talking,
Hmm.
because if you're able to talk about it with somebody, it's easier to write down. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like it'll help us get out of our heads in order to have a conversation so that we can change the world how we want to,
Hmm.
or impact it and help others. I think that's the biggest thing, is like so many people cannot talk. You know what I mean? Like, just they're really stuck in their mental.
I
And
feel like, yeah, I definitely get that, and I feel like there's a lot of factors into that
mhm,
because there's not room for it really, unless you make room for it.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like we spent our college years just talking
yeah,
about what things look like and how things feel.
yeah,
You know
yes,
what I mean?
yes,
And then even to start off with, like I've always been, I don't know if emotional is the right word because I'm not, I mean, I am, but I'm not at the same time. Because I'm really like, you know what, what's happening is happening, but on the inside, I'm really dying. You know what I mean?
I do.
But there's not space for that at home.
Yeah,
Whereas there was space for that in college where I could really deal with those emotions and feelings so that I'm now at a place where I can identify what's happening in those moments in terms of being able to talk about it with other people. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
it's
a lot of people don't have opportunity. And I also think it's a difference between just regular people and artists
mhm,
because we look at the world so differently. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Like I was having a discussion a couple years ago with somebody that I work with, and she was just really fascinated, like how we can take something out of nothing and create something. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't make any sense to her. Whether it be like steps and creating a full dance
Yeah,
or like silence and making music, like
mhm.
people just, not everybody understands that. Whereas to us, it's like, you know, I
It's a
listen
thing
to a
we can
song and
do.
there's a whole show. Like I
Yeah,
don't know how
yeah,
to turn
yeah.
it off.
It
That's
just
just how it
happens.
is.
Being able to create like that, I feel like comes with being aware. Like you were saying before, like in college, we've had the experience of sitting down and talking about how to create, how to transform. And I feel like sometimes that awareness is just awake in certain people.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like sometimes people think about creativity in the wrong way. Like
Yeah.
being able to solve a problem, period, no matter what the context is, involves creativity. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a math problem, like you're literally pulling things out of the air in order to solve this math equation. Like that's a creativity that I don't got. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It all boils down to how people define what it
Exactly.
is and like what really is creativity.
You
Like,
you know what kills me?
but
When people be like, I can't dance or I don't dance. I feel like, I mean, you might not look how you want to look, but you being extra.
and but that's the thing though. That's the thing. Like going back to college again, there's going to be a lot of college references because that's where me and Jalen met. So you know that's
Yay.
where it all started.
That's where it
But
started.
before it didn't even matter. But it's like that was the issue with school though, where it was like you come from a certain place and you do things a certain way,
Yeah.
and then you go to school and they give you all these tools on how to do a certain thing, and then I felt by the time I left I didn't know how to do it anymore. I didn't know how to dance anymore, whatever you define as knowing how to dance. But
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had so much information. I was not no longer aware of how to move my body because it was not right, or it didn't fit in the way that
You were taught.
a box should be of who a dancer is, or
Yeah.
what a true dancer is, or whatever that is. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody just be out here confused. But it is all boils down to like how you look at it. Like, we always get the question, like, what is dance? That's universal, you know? It means something different to everybody. So why
Right.
can't creativity mean
Means
something
something
different
to
to everybody?
exactly. Why does creativity have to equal entertainment? You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
why do I don't need to step into a space of creativity just because I want to entertain somebody. And I think that's why it starts to get hard if you're a creator, like especially if you're like a visual artist. And
Hmm.
it's that idea that, you know, um I have made this thing that I am so proud of. I'm going to put it on display and nobody understands it. But then you have to come to that point where you're like, does it matter if they understand it or not? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, why did I create this? Why did I put this into the world? And so then it becomes hard because you're constantly thinking about what other people have to say about it. And like, I know our comp class was supposed to be about us creating and stepping into that place of um, our creativity and how our minds work. But y'all, okay, we had this big project and it was supposed to go over the span of a couple weeks or whatever. Literally, like one person out of the class of like 10 people actually did the project over that certain period of time. Everybody else was trying to complete the project like 2 days before. So
Right.
I remember having this huge breakdown, and I was like, everybody came up with something that was, I don't know, I felt like it was deep and meaningful, and mine was just the same movement that I
That was when
that
you
I
did
always do.
the videos with the trees.
Yeah, I did the videos with the trees. And when I came up with the idea, it meant something to me. And when
Hmm.
I edited the video, it meant something to me. But when I saw the video in the context of everybody else's project, it was shitty to me. Like it didn't mean anything. And
Hmm.
and I thought that was very interesting because then when I watched it like a couple months later, I was like, oh, like there's some great stuff in here. You know what I mean? And then once
Yeah.
it was meaningful all of a sudden.
That is very interesting. I have 2 points to bounce off of that. The first one is mine didn't mean anything when I was doing it at all.
It looks
Like,
so damn good.
I know, but I don't like writing, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was writing all these poems. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I literally picked a word from each chapter of the book and wrote something and then discussed it. Like, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just the first idea that came to my head.
Yeah.
And I find that so funny because it kind of like opened up a whole new thing for me, like, because now I write now. I don't know if I like it or not, but now it's such an important part of my life, and
Yeah.
like a part of my work now because I incorporate my writing and my choreography and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting, like, because mine didn't mean shit to me. And then the way I presented it, I was like, "Oh, let me just crumble these papers and throw it in there and let it do what it do." But it didn't have a meaning to me. And this is kind of jumping the gun a little bit on our subjects, but process, like, sometimes
Yeah.
the process is the thing that holds more meaning than the product.
Hmm.
You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's also something that kind of relates to life overall as well, like your journey in the process to get to where you're going.
Right.
That honestly makes up more of your life than the end goal. You know what I mean? And
Correct.
that's what I struggle with because I'm not enjoying the process.
Hell
And
no.
I'm just here trying to get to the end goal, but it's like when I get there, I'm gonna look back and be like, "Well, damn, what did you do?"
Yeah. Right. Right. I Yeah, so when I did my senior piece, I realized that I have to be alone. Like, I have to be alone in order for me to really step into my creative process. It has to be quiet, like
Mhm.
quiet in my mental and quiet in my spirit. And I feel like when I was doing the recordings or whatever, there were people helping me record. It wasn't a situation where it was just like, here I am in my space. And I feel like it made it different for
Mhm.
me. Um, and it took a minute for me to feel good in the movement. And when I was watching it, I could tell which parts felt good and which parts didn't. You watch the movement back and then your brain recalls the feelings that the movement
Mhm.
caused. Um, so yeah, process was definitely important. Like 1,000%, because that
Yeah.
wasn't a process at all. That was me pulling pulling stuff out my butt. You know what I mean? Just to have something to present to people, which I feel
Yeah.
like is an analogy for life. Like, we be doing all
What am I
this.
trying to present?
We right. And and
Like,
and
to
if you
who?
don't
For what?
take the risk, there is no reward.
Yeah.
There was no risk in that process. And so then when I got to my senior piece and I started to take the risk was when I was alone. And the final product was not what I wanted it to be, but when I look back on the videos that I created, like just me doing my rehearsal process, it speaks to me so much that I'm willing to go back and elaborate on that process. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, you said something else too that I had something to bounce off from. You said process.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Um,
Was it about life or
you know,
like the journey or something like that? Those
yeah,
personal.
yeah. Um, so like coming from school, we find ourselves in this place where we have responsibilities, and those
Mhm.
responsibilities I found have started to overshadow like my goals. And like it's not that those goals don't exist anymore. It's that this other these not opportunities. These responsibilities are in the way. And
Mhm.
so I can see the goal and I want to get to it, but I'm like, hold on, I got to pay this bill first. You know what?
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to do a couple more hours at work. Um, Hold on, my church wants me to do something for them. Hold on, I need to. Hold on. Pause, pause, pause. And that goal is sitting in the same place. And I'm like
Yeah.
bouncing around the goal instead of blocking all that BS responsibilities because none of those things I have to do. None
Mhm.
of them I have to do. The only thing I have to do is stay black and eventually die one day. Like, those are the
Yeah.
only two things that are mandatory in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I can definitely relate to that,
Like, and
but in a different way.
yeah, like how do we step outsides, outside of the the confinements of what society wants us to do and actually be artists? Like, it's so easy to get lost.
It is very easy because, like you said, you have all these responsibilities, and that's my main issue. Like, so when it comes to my process, I don't think it has to do with me having to be alone,
Mhm.
because it never stops, it never turns off for me.
Mhm.
There's always some kind of idea or some kind of story happening in my head.
Mhm.
Um, kind of because I've spent so much time alone that I've just been creating stories to entertain myself or to kind of hide from life or reality.
Yeah.
So now I don't know how to turn it off and it's always creating something and there's always a story happening.
Yeah.
So the way it relates to my responsibilities and the way I live life, it becomes haunting to me
Mhm.
because I can't get it out.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's so much going on in my head and I can't get it out because I
Yeah.
have to go to work
Mhm.
or I have to do this and I have to do that. And then all that kind of is like a blur and I'm just kind of like floating through what I'm supposed to be doing
Mhm.
rather than living in the world or life. And it was really interesting because I did an acting class over the summer and she was talking about like you know, you probably think there's all these things missing from your life and you have all these like, you know, you're trying so hard to figure out what's missing, but have you ever stopped and thought that maybe what's missing is you?
Yikes.
You was like, yeah,
Yikes.
missing from my own life.
Damn, but that's accurate. That is really accurate. Like this feeling of being stagnant, like even though you're clearly moving and time is happening and years, literally years have flown by
Mhm.
since we graduated from school and I feel like I'm in the same place.
Haven't
Like
done a thing.
I feel like I haven't done a damn thing.
Hmm.
And that's because the heart wasn't in it. Like there's no heart, there's no soul, so there's nothing that I want to hold on to. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that that really hit for me right there. You right, sis. I'm really missing. Wow.
Listen and acting. MIA.
Leave it to the acting coaches. They be out here
Right.
dropping bombs.
You
Oh
just be
my
like,
gosh.
wow, all
You right.
right. That's
You
how
right.
it is. Which is very true. But it's like, well, how do I get here? Like,
Mhm.
how do I stop missing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think it just
I have
comes down
the
to risk.
ideas. I have all that. You know, I'm not struggling fishing for ideas.
Yeah.
I have stuff, and I kind of like I easily plan and know how I could things can happen.
Mhm.
Like it's really not that difficult, but I'm literally fighting with myself every day
Mhm.
of whether to make something happen or not.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm 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 just scared. Just I'm scared of succeeding and I'm scared of failing at the same time. And
Mhm.
that's really where the fight is for me. Is like every day I'll go on a website and I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this application. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna study abroad. I'm gonna yada yada yada. And then the next day I'll be like, nah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually apply for this other job that's a 2-year commitment. And then the next day I'll be like, nah, you know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm gonna quit everything and I'm gonna move to Hawaii. And then I'll be like, nah, you know what I'm really gonna do? Like every single day I'm like fighting with myself because I have an idea and I'm like, oh, I could fail at that. And then I'm like, oh, here's another thing that I could be super successful at. And then I'm like, nah, because what if I do succeed? What if I do have to go overseas? How am I going to afford? Yada, yada, yada. Like I live so many steps ahead that
Mhm.
I get stuck in the present because before I make a decision, I have to plan out whatever the steps are if I make it to that position. And so like and this is where I started realizing that me being black does have to do with my identity and how I move in the world. Because I feel like as a black woman, for me, the being successful comes with stipulations. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I'm scared of having to deal with whatever that success means. But I also am scared of failure because these things are set out for me and I'm strong and I can do this you have this in you have that in you can do anything, you're independent because you're a black woman. Like I feel like there's like these expectations not just coming from other people but coming from myself,
Mm-hmm.
and it just makes me scared of everything. Like I'm just so scared. I'd be like it'd be for anything. I'd be like, what do I want to eat for breakfast this morning? Maybe I'll have an omelet. Nope. That cheese could mess with my stomach at about 7 p.m. I'm not going to
Right.
have no omelet. They're like, maybe I'll just have a bagel. Oh no, can't have a bagel because, that bread might make you fat and you're trying to lose 20 pounds. Then I won't eat till 1 o'clock. Like, it's just like, it's
Yeah.
unnecessary things. And maybe I'm being dramatic, but that's how I feel about my
I
life.
mean, we're dramatic people, though.
We are. We're extra.
I also get that, and I feel like at a point I kind of let go of that, the
Hmm.
like fear and stuff, or I'm still in the process of letting that go, but that's not my main thing. I think my main, and it probably is it kind of aligns with fear maybe,
Hmm.
but it's a lack of trust within or
Trusting yourself or trusting others.
within the abilities that I have.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, I agree. For
I
myself,
think
not for you.
it's something that I've been thinking about a lot is like I've been watching a lot of they have the documentaries and stuff for all these artists and um they always have like for example maybe like Michael Jackson and he have or Beyonce and they have their parents and their fathers and they're like visionaries and they see this goal for them and they are working them to the bone so that they can reach that goal.
Hmm.
Whereas I'm kind of my own visionary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have to be the one that's like, all right, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this so that you can get here.
Hmm.
But I just don't feel like I have all that or trust that all of that is already there
Yeah.
to be able to make those other things succeed the way
Mm.
that I know that they can.
Hmm.
Because I know what I
Period.
have. Like, and I've always known even though it's always been like a smaller scale of what I wanted. And as I get older and I start to understand, get better, more interest and understand things more, it gets wider and broader.
Hmm.
Um, but my main thing with trying to figure everything out was like, I just don't know how.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know how to make these things happen. Because even though this may not be true, and it may be for at least the beginning of it, but it kind of feels like I'm on my own. And
Hmm.
it's quite overwhelming
Hmm.
because I'm the only one that sees what the possibilities
Yeah.
for what I want and what I have.
You know,
It's a lot.
it, I we've been seeing our whole lives. Like, I, I don't know. I see the greatness in you, friend. I really do. And I'm extremely proud of like where you are and the goals and the dreams that you have for yourself. Um, and I think you're making the right steps.
It's just a matter of trying. Thank you, by the way.
You're
It's a
welcome.
matter of knowing all that because, like you said, we've seen that before.
Hmm.
So we have to like rewind that or like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rather than take steps forward, we have to take steps backwards to understand what steps we need to take in order to go forward. You know
Exactly.
what
In
I
order
mean?
to make it to the vision.
Yeah, because I've
Like,
already seen that. I've already
yeah.
seen that. I
And
know where
in
it
you
is,
can
but I
literally
don't know how
see
to get
yourself
there.
in that place. Like you can see it. You
Yes.
can see it. And I think that's what makes it even more frustrating is like knowing that vision is there and knowing that you have the ability, but it's like it's really trying to figure out what that wall is and how do I break through that wall. You see the vision and you see the wall, you be like, well, god dang, like I can't go
Right.
over it. I can't go around it. Like
It's not moving.
it's not moving. What's going on?
And that's where like the other stuff comes in. And we could talk more about this down the line because it's a very important discussion, especially within our community, I feel like. But like for me, the mental struggles,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like I've seen all that and I know the potential and the ability,
Mm-hmm.
but where I am, it's like, yo, I don't belong here. Do you guys not understand that I don't belong here at this bookstore?
Yeah.
Like, it's not because I hate this job. It's not because I hate any of you,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not supposed to be here. And it's so frustrating because I don't know how to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of get stuck in some kind of weird cycle. And once again, we're back to fighting with the realities of life and yourself as a person as well.
Yeah. It's um I don't know. It's really crazy to stop and think about the journey that other people see you going on versus
Mm-hmm.
the journey that you yourself see, like how you see your life. Um and I think the goal is to make those things the same. Like for me it feels exhausting because I've been like for a very long time since I was little, people have always seen me as like, oh, she's great. She's so well behaved. She follows directions. She's really gonna be great. She never has any problems. She's always a smiling face. Yada yada yada. But that's not how I feel on the inside. Like I get so sad. Like just like out of nowhere and I feel so lost and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want everybody to know that I'm lost, but I also don't want people to think that I'm just out here perfect living my best life. And that's like a lot of pressure to feel
Mm-hmm.
like you have to look a certain way, and then I feel like it mutes my creativity. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I have to be alone. Um
So that's not getting in the way of.
yeah, so that it's just me and my thoughts in my brain
Yeah.
because I feel like creativity is something that lives like I don't know, in the middle of your brain. This sounds crazy as hell. But all of everything that people feel or think is in the front of my head, like in the
Mm-hmm.
front of my brain, right? And then and then all of the things that I've been told in the past is in the back of my head, right? But I have to be alone in order to access that part that's in the middle where it's silent, like a tornado. No, not a tornado, a hurricane, where everything is
Mm-hmm.
calm in the center. That's how I feel like my brain is. And I feel like my creativity lives in that little hole in the eye of the storm.
I'm the tornado. All mine is just in a tornado,
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
and it's just haunting me. It's like ridiculous. But I was over here like cracking up on the inside because we're like so the same and different at
And
the
different
same
at the
time.
same time, but that's why we're best
I
friends.
Yeah, because my experience was more of like, yo, what's wrong with her? Why is she so quiet? Like she's just such a nasty person. But I'm really like this like whole child on the inside, like
Yeah.
literally like SpongeBob, just so excited. And then life is just like, but people don't see that
Yeah.
because I just don't know how to get that person out into the world because of that wall or whatever is in the center.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that's so frustrating for me because it's like I know who I am, even though, she's pretty close. She's here pretty much, whoever that person is.
Yeah.
Um, Aside from that darker side that I used to live on, that was very deep and scary. But yeah, that's been a whole part of my journey so far is like trying to get that person out. That person that's actually me that actually like should exist, who's been kind of trapped inside like I'm ready, let's go.
Oops.
Like I'm ready to do this. Let's do this. But then you have this other person who's like, "Nah, we can't do that. Nah, you can't do that, Jada.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so." And that relates to all parts of life, like, relationships and everything.
Oh, whew, let's
But
not even.
yeah.
We won't even get into that one because it is a
But
mess.
no, it's just so funny. I feel like my I don't know, my creativity is all around my brain and it's like scattered and there's all these different lists and stories and stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm just piecing them together and then they get stored and filed away somewhere with that person like that's like I'm ready, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then you have the other person that's me that's just standing there just like, nah, sit that ass down. We not about to do that today.
You were saying that your like creative brain is all the time.
Hmm.
Do you find that it's like um do you find that it's exhausting to have that creative brain all the time?
Um,
Like for it to just be on go?
I feel like yes and no. Um, yeah, yes, in the sense of when I'm out in the regular world and I have to deal with real life things,
Hmm.
it's exhausting because I feel like it stops me from being able to be 100% present in that real life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and no, because I've lived inside of my head.
Yeah.
So that's the reality I've been living in so long.
Hmm.
So I know how to navigate and deal with that, if that makes any sense. Like, because I've spent so much time alone, um, and my creativity and my ideas have been built on stories and situations that have protected me from the outside world. So that has like been where I lived, and that's more of my home, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not exhausting because that's where I live and I know what that is and how to navigate that. But when I have to be an actual person, it does get exhausting
Because
because I
they're
don't know how to
fighting
be
for
that actual
attention.
person. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
I feel exhausted in a different way. Like I feel like that thing in the center of my brain is like calling to me. It's like Jalen, Jalen, come create, come create. You know what I mean? It's exhausting to feel that pull, and then when it's finally silent, all I want to do is move and create, but I'm so physically tired
Mhm.
from all the other stuff. Like mentally my brain is ready, and I think that's why I be up at the wee hours of the night is cuz my brain be so ready but my body it is so tired. So I'm like not mentally exhausted, but physically it gets exhausting trying to like do all of these other things when my mental wants to be in a different space.
Mhm.
And I really think that creativity can come out in so many different ways for so many, for different people based on like your experiences and what you need. Like I feel like creativity is like a safe space. You know what I'm saying? And like
It should
earlier,
be, yeah.
earlier I was like I don't got the creativity where you solve math problems, but somebody
Mhm.
does because that's their safe place. Like
Yeah.
that's what feels good to them.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's such a weird. It's weird to be an artist and talk about creativity because you're taught that art can literally be anything. You know what I mean? And so there's like so many possibilities of what
Yeah,
the creativity could be, how it could show itself, who you are inside that creativity, what that could mean to other people. Like anything is possible.
it is. It is
Anything is
very possible.
possible.
And I guess that leads into the next thing. So we talked a lot about what it is, and our experience with creativity and our process within it. But then it's like, can anybody be creative? You know?
I mean, I say yes. I Everybody has that ability, but I think as a society, we need to stop thinking about being creative equaling entertainment. You know what I mean? Like it can show up as anything. Creativity is required in a lot of things that we do as humans. Like watching a TV show, you have to have some type of creativity or imagination for you to watch the TV show and be interested. Or reading
Mhm.
a book, you have to be able to visualize whatever the writer is saying in order for you to be interested in that book. It doesn't do, it doesn't dust. It doesn't dust. It does it what the hell? It doesn't just take creativity to write that book. It takes creativity to ingest that information.
Mhm.
Um but I mean, that's how I feel. But we also went to school at Drexel University where everyone can dance and when you walk across the stage, it's art.
Yes. Yes. Um, I honestly don't know the answer to that question. What you're saying, I agree with, and it also
Mhm.
makes sense. But I don't know. I can't give in this moment.
Mhm.
My mind cannot give a yes or a no.
Mhm.
Um, so I would be like really interested to see what other people think about it,
Yeah,
whether
definitely.
they're artists or non-artists, how they would feel about like or just like looking at themselves if you're an artist or not. Like, do you feel you can be creative? Or the people around you? Do you think it's something that anybody has the ability to do? Um, and yeah, I don't have a yes or a no at the moment.
I mean, and that's cool. You talked about being able to process earlier. So
Yeah,
we going to let
a
you
little
process.
process time.
We going to let you process. Okay, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, so let us know. Think about that last question. Can anybody be creative? And let us know.
Yeah. Put it in the comments.
All right, now.
All right. So we
Same
out here.
question. Careful out here.
Careful. No, for real, y'all. Be careful out here. All right. Protect your energy. And I guess we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.